Okay, guys, welcome to section 1, your digital marketing template strategy template, right? Your digital marketing strategy template. That's what we're going to be talking about here, which is pretty much also known as your customer journey, okay? And so let's go ahead and get started. So this literally is where digital marketing begins and ends. So it's with your customer's journey that strategically builds a relationship with new prospects and converts them into what we call loyal and repeat customers. This journey is the process that every prospect goes through to become a new customer. You've been through this process with other companies when you ended up buying or using their services. It's how strangers becomes buyers and eventually raving fans of your business. Now here's the hard truth, and that is that marketing is not a one-step process. There are 8 stages, 8 real stages you must account for on the path to purchase and promotion. But I actually have great news. If you understand that this digital marketing strategy, also known as the customer journey, if you understand this, then you can intentionally engineer your business in such a way that it moves people predictably through the stages in the templates. In other words, you'll no longer wonder if you'll be able to generate leads. You won't have to cross your fingers and hope for customers will come by. When you understand customer journey, even reviews and referrals will become automatic. You guys have to understand, just because you built a building, just because you built a business, just because you opened up a website, that does not mean that just because you made it, people will come. You have to understand that marketing is an important aspect, and digital marketing in this day of age is even more important than ever. The customer journey is the strategic foundation of everything we do here at our company, and it should be the same thing for yours as well. It's the master template upon which every other digital marketing discipline and tactic is built. It's so important that we are honestly confidently able to make a bold statement, and that is that the job of marketing is to be able to move prospects and customers seamlessly and subtly through each phase of the customer journey. In this section, we're going to start with a high-level map of the customer journey, then we'll dive into each of the 8 steps. Then we're going to talk about the tactics you'll need to move people along the journey and review some case studies you can see in action. So let's talk about step 1, which is awareness. All right, this is the overview of the customer journey. So let's talk about step 1, which is awareness. Before someone can buy from you, they have to realize that you exist, right? You guys have to understand, the number one reason why companies are not able to make a sale or fail and close their doors is because people just don't know that who they are. They don't know they exist. So that is the first step, is awareness. This step is pretty self-explanatory. It's where the person becomes aware of you. After all, nobody is born all of a sudden knowing that they want an Apple phone. They're not born knowing that Amazon Prime is there, that there's delivery the next day or the same day. At some point, they have to become aware of these companies if they are to become a customer. The same thing is true about your company. So let's share a few examples that generates awareness. There are a number of ways prospect could become aware of your company, products, or services. So here's 3 possible scenarios, right? Let's say, for example, you're offering non-medical home care services for seniors, right? Maybe a daughter whose mom has been going to the hospital nonstop and needs care at home, and they see your advertising on Facebook. Or an office manager search for Google to find the closest pizza place to be able to feed his staff. Or maybe a college student watches an Instagram video on her friend raving about a new brand of noise-canceling headphones. Facebook ads are the perfect vehicle for driving awareness. In this example, browsers are introduced to a variety of different information, right? So like I said, I shared with you guys the example of somebody needing care for their loved one and they went through Facebook. That happens a lot in the companies that I work with and the companies that I own myself. Now, let's talk about digital marketing disciplines that can create awareness. So to improve awareness of your company, the digital marketing tactics you need to master or hire, may include digital advertising, search marketing, content marketing, social media marketing, community management, copywriting. Those are things that you might be needed. And sometimes when you're first starting, you might be doing all of them, right? The fact that you're watching this video is you're trying to learn more about digital marketing. Okay, so step one, like we talked about, is awareness. Now, step two is engagement. Your prospect is now aware of you. They know who you are, but you're still in the early stages of a relationship with them. They don't yet know you, like you, or trust you yet. So the next step is to start developing a relationship with your prospect. So like I said, step two is engagement. This is where you start conversing with your prospect. You engage them through some form of content that provides entertainment, information, or even both. Engagement is something that must continue throughout the customer journey. It's not something you do once and move on. Engagement typically comes in the form of content or community. So let me share some examples, right? Let's say, for example, a grandfather of 5 receives an email newsletter from his financial advisor detailing several ways to save for a child's college tuition while reducing taxes. Or let's say an owner of a boutique wine store becomes active in Facebook community for wineries and other wine retailers. So that's a good example, right? Or let's say a new mother watches a YouTube video from Johnson & Johnson showing her how to give her baby a bath. These are some samples. Now, to improve engagement in your company, the digital marketing tactics you need to master or hire will include content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, and community management. And on step 3, it's about subscribing, right? At this point, your prospect knows who you are and has engaged with you in some way, point, or another, okay? Now, however, if you fail to get that person's contact information, odds are high you'll never hear from them again. Why is that? Well, because people today are inundated with marketing and content, creating a scarcity of attention. Just because someone reads one of your blog posts today or watches a video does not mean they'll remember to revisit your site in the future. Instead, you need to get that person to progress to step 3 in the whole value journey, which is to subscribe. Here, that person gives you their contact information, and in doing so grants you permission to contact them again in the future. Most often, this transaction is an exchange, something referred to as an ethical bribe. You promote a valuable offer, but instead of asking for money, you ask for the prospect's contact information. And when they give it to you, not only do you give them access to the content, product, or service you promise, you also add them to your subscriber list. So that's a great way to kind of look at that, okay? So some examples would be a young professional signs up for a webinar presented by a local realtor about the best practices of purchasing a first home. Or maybe, a wife of a man who is in a nursing home signs up with a blog to be able to show them how to prevent, 5 steps on how to stay away from a nursing home. Or maybe a college girl fills out a form on a blog to receive a free sample of a new face cream. Those are some samples right there. In each case, the prospect will fill out a form, provide their contact information, and is sent information about how to access the offer. So that's some examples that can actually happen. Now, let's talk about digital marketing disciplines that will generate subscribers, okay? So to get more subscriptions for your company, the digital marketing tactics you need to have and master, or maybe hire people that has the skills, are content marketing, email marketing, digital advertising, community management, conversion rate optimization, and also copywriting. Now, on step 4, that's what we call conversion, or to convert. If the subscriber you gain in step 3 of the journey remains engaged, some of them will be ready to increase their level of commitment. They like the information you share and have begun to trust you, so they're ready to invest in one of 2 ways, either with time or with money. This is a critical stage in the customer journey and one that frustrates many business owners. The key of success in this stage is to employ what we call entry point offers. These offers are designed to give the new prospect tremendous value without forcing them to put too much skin in the game. At this stage, to ask for a significant investment in a complex product or service would be asking too much too soon. You're still in the early stages of the relationship. In fact, it's too early to concern yourself with profitability. That's right. In this stage of the customer's journey, you might lose money on the prospects as you acquire as buyers or as customers. This is perhaps the most important lesson you must learn, so it bears repeating. Let me say it again. The conversion stage of the customer journey is about acquiring buyers or customers or ramping up the commitment level of the leads you already have. It is not about the sale or profitability. The most valuable businesses in the world all understand that the costliest marketing activity your business undertakes is customer acquisition. It's the reason Sprint Mobile is willing to buy you out of your Verizon cell phone contract and give you a free phone. It's the reason why GoDaddy offers domains for $2.95 for the first year. It's the reason why Vistaprint will sell you 500 business cards for under $10. The goal is to acquire a new customer. Profit will come later. So let's share some examples that generates conversion. Let's say, for example, a VP of operations at a large company purchases a high dollar management consultant book for $8, and they get that from the consultant's website. Let's say, for example, I'm offering home care services for seniors, and maybe I'm offering a video training series that they want to be able to watch for $1 that I normally sell for $59. Okay, that gets them in the door to kind of educate them about our services. Notice the price point of each of these offers are between $1 to $8 to maybe $20 or less. Something that won't hurt the bank, but will get them to have a minor or small commitment. Your goal here is not to make a huge profit. It's to get customers, to shift the relationship between you and your subscribers. Because you'll see, once someone is a customer, it's much more likely that that person will purchase a higher ticket, more complex products and services, and do it more frequently. Remember, one of the costliest marketing activities your business will undertake is the acquisition of customers. The good news is that once you've acquired them, you don't need to pay to acquire them again. Getting that initial conversion was the hard part. Now they can build the customer relationship to create profits down the road. That right there is the goal. So to improve conversion in your company, the digital marketing tactics you need to master or hire may include your digital advertising, your copywriting, your email marketing, your search marketing, your content marketing. Now let's move on to step 5, and that is excite them, right? At this point, your new customer has had a transaction with you, a small transaction. Sure, it is small, but a transaction nonetheless. Your job now is to make sure the transaction is a good one, that the excitement of the purchase develops into what we call a goodwill and trust. The reason for this is simple. If a person doesn't get value from this transaction, then they won't move on to the next stage and purchase more expensive things from you or maybe acquire your services. So how do you make you valuable? How do you create that good experience? Well, first, we assume that whatever the prospect purchased or gave up valuable time for is outstanding. Great marketing will only increase the speed at which your business fails. If you don't have outstanding products and services, your business will still fail. You may be able to get them to see your services, but if it sucks, if it's no good, you'll eventually be called out. Eventually, people will see the truth. So that's important. So the second thing is the prospect must get value from their last transaction with you. The excitement stage, the excite stage of the customer journey is something you must learn, and you must also return to again and again. And every time it should create excitement. That being the case, whenever a customer or prospect does what you ask them to do, maybe attend this webinar, buy this product, or maybe hire me for services, you should engineer your marketing to maximize the chances they'll get tangible value from the experience. That right there is such an important thing to be able to know. Now, let's move on to digital marketing disciplines that create excitement. To improve consumption in your company, the digital marketing tactics that you need is your email marketing, content marketing, and your copywriting. Okay. Now, moving on to step 6, that is what we call ascend or ascension. Right? At this stage of the journey, you've given time, you've given money and resources into acquiring a lead and customers, right? And making sure they get value from doing business with you. It's entirely possible that until this stage, you have yet to turn a profit. In fact, if you're in a competitive market, and guess what? Who is not in a competitive market? We all are. So guess what? You may be losing money on the front end of this process to acquire customers. That's perfectly acceptable, and here's why. You're investing in your future profits. Always remember that it costs more to acquire a new customer than to sell to an existing one. The first sale isn't about profit, it's about converting a prospect to a customer so you can begin a long and profitable customer relationship. Buying customers on the front end is just shrewd business, but only if you can monetize those customers on the back end. The Ascension Stage of the journey is where your customers will be ready to buy more and more often. If your business has a core offer, this is the place to make that offer. Then once your customer purchases that core offer, it's time to present them with other relevant offers. Think about a time that you went to a restaurant for the first time. There are times where the reason why you tried a restaurant first is you got that coupon that made you come in, or you got that BOGO special, that buy one get one free offer. And then when you were introduced to their services and you enjoyed it, then you start coming back more and more because you enjoyed the whole experience in that restaurant. So you will notice that the value journey worksheet that you can create here represents what we call the Ascension Stage. And the way you can create a worksheet if you want to is it's more of a ladder. And there's no accident to why we want you to use a ladder type of a setup, because this is really a ladder that will hopefully lead to multiple purchases over time. So you want to be able to maybe include the following examples of marketing that can create ascension. Examples of them will be, let's say a dating couple rent a convertible in San Diego, but then all of a sudden they want to purchase or pay extra for a satellite radio or GPS. Or another example of an ascension is, let's say for example, you buy a camera worth $3,000, but then you want to add a lens kit, you want to add a camera bag, you want to buy a tripod, and you have to pay an extra $700 for that. So that's an ascension of things. Let's say, for example, in one of my businesses for home care services, let's say, for example, a client, we start providing services for 32 hours a week, but then what we want to do is we might extend them and then upgrade them and provide them additional services. Like, for example, providing them non-emergency transportation to the mall, to the grocery store, or to the doctor's offices. So you can add some services to them. So to improve the ascension in your company, this is where you need to make sure you do a lot of follow-ups with them. Now let's move on to step 7, which is what we call advocate. So you now have, let's say, a happy customer who has made several profitable purchases from you. The next stage in the value journey is to create marketing that encourages your most loyal customers to advocate for your business. An advocate is someone who speaks positively about your brand. An advocate is what you might call a passive promoter or an unpaid promoter. They won't necessarily promote your business in an active way, but when asked about you, they may respond favorably. So these are things that we need to be able to make sure that we want to deal with, okay? So getting advocates is such an important thing because it helps generate awareness. It helps generate trust. It helps generate credibility with a wider audience, which helps you to get more customers and grow your business. To get more advocates in your company, the marketing efforts is such a big thing, and you definitely need that, okay? Now, moving on to step 8, which is promotion, right? Promoters differ from advocates in that they are actively seeking to spread the word about your brands, products, and services. In some cases, the promoter simply had a great experience with your company and wants to share their story with friends and family. In other cases, they promote because you've created an incentive for them to do so. This puts your message in front of a new audience, the fans, the followers, and friends of promoters. And because this new audience is hearing about you from a trusted source who they already know, they're more than likely to become customers themselves. Now, intentionally creating more promoters is important because it creates an army of paid or unpaid salespeople spreading the word about what you sell them. Let's say, for example, a man who has his own podcast, and you're offering him 20% commissions every time that a listener decides to use your services through an affiliate link. That's an example of you providing value for someone that wants to provide value for you by promoting your services. Okay. So to get more promoters in your company, it's important that you guys actually create a plan and you sit down and you really analyze, like, what can you give? What is your profit margin? Are you willing to give a certain percentage to somebody? Because remember, like we talked about, acquisition of clients is the most important thing, and sometimes it's not as profitable yet. Just imagine sometimes where, have you ever signed up for Uber, and the reason why you signed up for Uber because was a friend of yours used Uber and he sent you a link for you to sign up, but guess what? He gets a $5 voucher or a free ride because you decided to sign up for Uber. So that's a good example. Now that you know what the customer journey is, the next thing you need to really understand is, how do you seamlessly and subtly move customers and prospects through each phase of the customer journey? The short answer is, you build marketing campaigns that intentionally move people from one stage to the next. And those two words, campaigns and intentionally, are important here, guys. So let's unpack them one at a time. What is a marketing campaign? First, let's talk about what a campaign really is. A marketing campaign has two main critical components. That's a call to action and a traffic source. So the call to action is what you want people to do. If the marketing campaign you're creating is aimed at the subscribe stage of the customer journey, your call to action might be for people to download a white paper, a checklist, or a video source. If it's a campaign in the convert or ascend stage, your call to action might be to buy a product or services. If the campaign you are creating is for awareness stages, the call to action might be as simple as listening to a podcast episode or reading a blog post. Now, if we start talking about traffic sources, the traffic source could be a digital click from an ad, an email, a social media site, or search engines like Google. Offline marketing could also include direct mail, TV or radio advertising, or print ads, or anything else that gets the call to action in front of your prospects. Now that you know what a campaign is, let's talk about what a campaign is supposed to do. The purpose of a marketing campaign is to intentionally move people from one stage of the value journey to the next. Good example is a campaign might have the goal of getting people to sign up for your email list, going to what we call engage to subscribe. Another campaign might be to have a goal of getting new customers excited about their purchase, going from convert to excitement. Once again, notice that a campaign is intentionally moving people through the value journey, and that word intentionally is important. Now think about how a company has made you travel from and journey through one section to another. Think about it. Intentionally moving customers through the value journey is such an important thing. So anyone who has ever become a customer of a company has moved through the value journey at one point, whether that company made it happen intentionally or not. Now, sometimes people move through the value journey on accident, right? Once you figure out that you can move people intentionally through the value journey using marketing campaigns, you realize that you have the ability to grow your business by improving those areas where your customers are getting stuck. At this point, I'd like to point out that there's one common mistake that many companies make when trying to move customers and prospects through the whole journey. The number one mistake marketers make when creating campaigns is that once a business understands the customer journey, they can get so excited about the possibilities that they try to move people all the way from being a stranger to a promoter in one single giant step in one campaign. And that is a mistake. That right there, my friends, is impossible. You cannot possibly create one campaign that makes people aware of you, then engage them, and then get them to subscribe and convert, and then excite them, and then ascends them, and then turns them into an advocate or promoter. Instead, you need to create multiple specific campaigns that are designed to move people from one stage to the next. Or even in some cases, a campaign can probably move people through 2 or maybe 3 steps at once, but not a giant leap, okay? So to sum up this section, the customer's journey is the foundation for all the tactics that you will learn in this training section, in this whole training we're giving you guys. Whether you're learning about content marketing, about digital advertising or analytics, or any other topic, keep this concept in mind. Now, don't worry though. We'll review it several times all throughout the whole training so that it stays fresh in your mind. Because repetition is always the key to success, guys. That right there is what we want to be able to have, is to provide you guys success. Now that you understand what we talk about, the customer journey or the digital marketing strategy template, it's time to talk about the number one tactic you will use to engage people at every stage. And that, my friend, is content marketing, okay? And that is what we're going to be talking about in the next video section. So please, if you need to, listen to this video all over again, just one more time before moving on to the next video. But after you've done that, take a pause, take a break, write down notes, absorb things that we shared with you guys, and get started with the next training video.